Hi guys, this is Lashette from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I'm back with a new video. This is the Past Lives Club final video. Past Lives Club September, created by Amethyst Ascension, Astrology and Tarot. Or is it Tarot and Astrology? In week 4, we're wrapping up this past life that I've been exploring for the last month or year. And the topics are death, lesson, and message. So for death, oh wait, before I get into that, if you have not seen weeks 1 through 3, do check them out. Week 1, I went over the archetype and some basics about the past life. And then week 1, we did identity, some more details about the specific past life, time frame and location. And then week 2, I covered faith, love, and trauma. So if you're interested in checking that out or seeing how I went through the process using tarot and oracle up till now, check out those videos. I'll link them below. So anyway, for the death topic, of course, still using the Spirit Keepers Tarot Revelation Edition, even more appropriate now. This has been the main deck I've been using throughout the entire practice. And then my favorite, the Deviant Moon Tarot, even more appropriate for dark topics and death. So, to move this along a little quicker, I have pulled the cards ahead of time. And I'll just discuss my thoughts on their meanings with you all. Yes? Okay. A quick reminder. So, when I did the archetype for week 1, for death, I pulled the Lover's card, Mystery of the Covenant. This is from the Spirit Keepers Tarot. And I took this to mean like my death was like a poisoning. It was at a major time of my life. Obviously death is a major part of one's life, but it's kind of hard to see the Lovers as something to do with death. So for a little clarity on my own, I pulled an oracle card from the Heart of Faerie Oracle. The Blessing. Oops, sorry. There's a mild spoiler there for you. This is from the archetype section called The Journey. And yeah, it's about beginnings and being at the start of a journey, having blessings on your journey, giving thanks and being grateful. But then we have the Lovers, which really made me think of poisoning and because this version is kind of a chemical combination of things. We have the Tree of Life and the, oh god, what is that? The tree with the serpent from the Bible. And we have a dragon and a phoenix and this arrow and bow and arrow pointing into the cup. So thinking and considering some of the other cards I had pulled for other points of this life, my death, I saw probably a poisoning and betrayal of some kind, as I had a choice to make. So, moving on. Like I said, I'm using the Deviant Moon Tarot. These are the backs. If you have not seen this deck. First question was, could I have prevented this? And okay, first up, I pulled the Two of Pentacles, excuse me. Nothing is flat. The Ten of Cups. Okay, and the High Priestess, which is kind of wild if you think about it. It's like crazy. I'm gonna move these up now because I know it's gonna get very crowded here, especially since Deviant Moon Tarot cards are longer than average. Just seeing this as, you know, balancing things out. Maybe there was a choice, or I did balance out and perceive that my overall general life happiness over duty to spirit, pain with a good outcome, or loneliness and the unknown behind the curtain, that kind of thing. And it's hard to balance those things, and so it did not end well. The next question I have is, what were my last few moments like? And y'all, I got the Hermit. No, it is not looking good at all. Like, that's not just you, because, yeah. The Five of Wands. And the Nine of Wands. So, my last moments were not great. I was scared, fighting for my life, and feeling lost and alone. Just not a happy feeling, and maybe even, you know, protecting myself, hiding who I truly am or used to be, even. These next ones, let me see if they'll even fit on the screen. No. Okay, so we're moving up again. Okay, so what kind of regrets do I have? I'm like tripping over that word. I've got the Justice card, the Four of Cups, so definitely got some regrets, and the Wheel of Fortune. Wow. I mean, if I could turn back time, definitely. I think from these, I felt like I wish I knew better about what was going on. I had paid more attention. You see, like, the ship here. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But, like, instead of maybe not already regretting or feeling bored with what I have going on or not going on, I had paid better attention to the injustices maybe going on around me, the mask that maybe some in leadership positions were wearing, and I upheld more what was right, maybe even had more fun. I want to throw this out there also. The fact that the type of life I'm living is one in ancient, what would be considered modern day Mexico. Around the 12th or 13th century, where people might be seeing me differently. This is around the time where potentially, because it's not fully been verified 100%, the Aztecs do take over in this time, and they do come in and conquer. It could have something to do with that, either the betrayal coming from higher ups during that war, or just before it, people knowing that the Aztecs are conquering in other locations, potentially, or Aztecs potentially having seated someone in our governmental or leadership, and there's betrayal from within in that sense, or people, during the war, once they've already come in and started conquering, seeing the lay of the land and wanting to live and survive, there's a potential, might have been poisoned, or it's like, my final death is that, but it's after being potentially locked up or on the run or beaten, fighting, hiding, having to protect myself and pretend I'm not who I am. So, hoping to have a different outcome is the thing. Last question. Sorry to go off on that tangent. What was my greatest accomplishment? I got the Page of Cups, and the sun has come in fully now, so this seems dark. I promise you it's not. Let me see if this will help a bit. Not really. Maybe this one. Not really. The sun do what it do. Yeah, okay, let's turn these off and see if I bring this side up. I don't know. I don't see it. But yeah, this is super bright because the sun is directly on it right now. From the edge of the window. Anyway, and then also got the Two of Wands and the Three of Cups. So I feel that I brought people together, maybe by connecting with people or connecting people with each other, and whether it's about capability, I guess just had that emotional intelligence and grew to plant those seeds, create these relationships, point out maybe who can help each other, whether that's within the military or armed forces of whatever type I may have been a part of, or other working groups, or just friendships, love and things like that. So yeah. And also, another perspective is figuring out who is the bad guy or bad guys, and taking them down with me. Maybe I'm the fish in this scenario. not the part of this card I focus on the most, but it's an option. So that is it for my death. Let us move on to the next topic, which is the lesson. Okay, so the lesson, the card I had pulled when doing the archetype and identity and all of that stuff was, as a reminder, the Destroyer, 10 of Swords. This is not necessarily a bad thing, but I also got this, one of the unnamed cards, and that's just the category I go by for those unnamed, untitled Fae, essentially, from the Heart of Faerie's Oracle. And this is a unicorn Fae on a toadstool, balancing some type of crystal or egg, or what's the word? Not egg, nut, like a oak tree nut on the back of her foot. The deck I used for these set of questions for this topic is the Afro Goddess Tarot Arcanas. For some reason it felt like, well, not for some reason, because of part of the questions, it felt like using something more modern and that represents me in today's times, more appropriate. So the first question, how does this life connect to my current life? This was difficult because I got all court cards. First up, the God of Pentacles, which is the King of Pentacles, essentially. The Son of Wands. These are reflective and iridescent, so they look dark sometimes and not others. Yes, you're right. Then lastly, the Daughter of Wands. So I took this as something very interesting, kind of like, sorry, the God of Pentacles being that past life, giving me this information from a point of view, like the practical ancestor, if you will, the one who has been through it and come out. That is the experienced life rather than the one I'm currently experiencing. So I had a death in that one, so we had a beginning and an end in that past life. You know, worked hard, passed on that, and I've learned from there, and the connection is, you know, the passing on of that information. It wasn't all bad. It was hard work, but it wasn't all horrible. And you know, this is now a life where I can learn to not be as rigid. Definitely have a plan and, you know, pay attention, have a clearer view of situations before I act. While also just still be positive and confident in this life. You know, do create and be passionate, but be a little more wary and like look both ways before you cross the street. Cross somebody. The next question, what lesson do I still need to learn? I've got the Six of Cups, the Eight of Cups, Yes, you can really see it in this one. The color changes. And the Nine of Pentacles, which remains my favorite card. I was thinking maybe I should do a video about my favorite tarot card, but I don't know why. Like, what would be the point in doing such a thing? Right? Anyway, just, you know, the memories and nostalgia, looking back at past life is great. Even like looking back at sunnier times in this current life is great. Those sun-soaked experiences I need to move on from to be successful and happy in my current life. This is the lesson I still need to learn. And it hits hard. Very hard. Okay. The third and final question in this section is, what karmic lesson did I resolve in this life? So this past life, I got the Nine of Swords, which, if you know me, you know this is one of my biggest problems. The Two of Pentacles. And Temperance. One of the most difficult cards for me to fully understand. There's always a lot going on in Temperance. We're all mostly on the screen, so we'll deal with it. Or I can move them up. Right? Yes. Anywho's. I mean, kind of learning to balance the negative and the positive. To be more discerning about my thoughts and whether they be accurate, especially the negative ones, the catastrophic thoughts. And, you know, differentiate them from long-term visions. Have them, you know, be separate. Having visions, and I'm not necessarily talking about, like, psychedelic, spiritual, third eye visions like that. I just mean, like, plans for the future, ideas, projects, things I would like to create in my life and in, you know, my business or whatever have you. Balancing reality and possibility. If things go wrong, I can come back to balance, and after despair and or the death or transformation of something in my life, like things not done or things done that I wasn't prepared for, whatever have you, I can still live on, have possibilities in life, create and try something else. It's not the end, death. This is just a change, and I think that makes sense as a karmic lesson from the Destroyer. So that is the topic of the lessons I've learned through this past life. Let me know what you think, and we will get to our final topic, the message. Okay, so last but not least, I have the message, and that was just one basic question. I did not pull an oracle card for this because, well, I didn't pull a Faerie oracle card for this because I kind of, at the beginning, mixed up the lesson and the message section, so, yeah. And I thought they were one, and then, yeah. So there was only so many categories of the Fae and that deck. So I just have from the Spirit Keeper's Tarot, Hallowed Flame, Ace of Scepters, The Awakening, which is like a beginning, a new creative process. The flame that leads you with light, torch. Also can be seen as like that light bulb going off over your head, I feel. However, the question or the statement in this sense is a message from my past life self to my current self. And I did pull a card from what you saw earlier, the Moonology Oracle by Yasmin Bolin. And funnily enough, I pulled the full moon eclipse. So let's zoom in here. Yes. And wow, right? It is fascinating. The full moon being the time to let go of things. An eclipse, definitely. A full moon eclipse coming after a new moon eclipse or a dark moon eclipse, or a new moon eclipse. And that's like the end of that eclipse cycle. Or even if we look at an eclipse cycle over the 6 months, 6 month period, it's a new moon, full moon eclipse, new moon eclipse, full moon eclipse. Generally 2 in a year, sometimes. But yeah, so it's the end of even that roughly 6 months eclipse cycle. But here it literally says conclusions are within reach. So I was just like, wow, interesting. A beginning and an ending. And the quote that came to mind for me, I looked it up because I didn't remember who it was by, but it's when one door opens, another closes. And that is by Alexander Graham Bell. And kind of the rest of that is, but we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the ones which open for us. Hold on. That, what's the other quote? It's like, God opens, what? One door closes, God opens a window, or something like that. So I have to, like, in life it's like, look around for other possibilities. When things end or are not going great, I should look around for these opportunities. So that's the message from my past life. It's like, be aware that something is ending when something new begins, and probably be prepared for that is what I saw. It's very interesting, and I like how the colors like worked for this. When I first pulled this card, I was like, wait a second, I only got 2 cards here. One was like, start something new, conclusions are within reach, and yeah, so when that quote popped into my head, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So that is the end of my exploration of this particular past life, at least for now. I've taken like so many notes, I've taken pictures and everything, so I feel like I might come back to this. Even if I just come back to like read my notes or whatever, it'll be very interesting to explore. It might spark me doing it again. I really appreciate the creators of this challenge and practice. Lots of great questions here. And it took me a bit to really adjust to the idea of doing this without a deck that's specifically set up for past life readings or archetypes. I also have to say that I truly appreciate the practice. Like I said in the beginning, it wasn't something I was truly interested in. And I can't, I need to zoom out. I forgot. Sorry, guys. And this idea that past lives, no, not that they exist, but I need to explore, is interesting. I wouldn't have known how or even what questions to ask, but now it's very interesting. And I can also see how they can apply to other things, like when particularly speaking with spirits. I'll be honest, I might offer some past life readings in the future, mostly for practice on my part, but if you are interested, let me know and we can try. Yeah, I'm very glad that I did this and caught back up with it, finished it. Guys, like this video. If you liked it, subscribe. If you are new, hit the notification bell so you know when the next video is coming. I've done Answers to Work October, but I was also doing Thoughttober, so which one will come first, we shall see. But yeah, links in the description, well, to Rochelle's videos. I'll list all of the decks below so you can find them. I'll be linked to my Etsy shop with the 10% off discount code where I offer readings. There'll also be a link to my Patreon where you can watch this video ad-free. And people get early access to all of my videos on Patreon and other exclusive content at higher tiers. So you can check it out for the free stuff, or check out the different tiers for the more private but also potentially more interesting content. And it'll be really interesting to do like a journal page, like some type of art for this past life. Now I'm thinking. Anyway, that will definitely be on Patreon. But yeah, guys, thank you as always so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.